It's not too late. Certainly not too late for the gym to be open, but unfortunately, this gym is not 24-hour. During the weekdays, it's closed at 11 type situation. But that's all good with me. One thing that kind of sucks, my one of the gyms that I go to that's closer to where I live, it used to have crazy hours. I mean, the weekends it would still open later, like 8 and like 11 on Sunday, but it used to close at 11 every fucking night, Friday included. So when I was still lifting in, or when I was in high school, when I was still doing my all my diving and stuff, the daily routine would have been school, go to this diving well at OSU that's really cool. Or not this diving, like that OSU pool for the club team. It's super fucking crazy big over there. It's nice. But then I'd get home from that at like 9 or something. I wouldn't leave immediately after school. There was kind of a break in between. But I'd get back from that at 9, then go do the actual legit lift. It was fucking dead in there, especially on actual school nights. But the late gym is certainly. I'm kind of curious now. I sort of wish I had like omnipotent level data about all the times that I've been lifting, just because I'm kind of curious when I've gotten the best lifts done. I feel like most of my best lifts were probably solo. Not that I really lift with anybody that often anyway, but I just mean like, is your crew and posse at the gym with you at the same time, or are you there kind of fucking like a rogue? In either case, I think the real fucking determined lifter is going to get a good workout, regardless of who's around him, hyping him up or not. But it is nice. I definitely prefer having the crew around me. It just makes it more fun. And if you're, I don't know if this is like ubiquitous with all lifters, but as far as I'm concerned, the gym isn't just that little time to do my own shit. It's also a social hour. Not for the whole workout, of course. Like you got to lock it in, but before and after, plus in between sets with moderation. You're not going to catch me doing my workout like in between sets when I turn the camera off. I'm not just sitting there brooding, just staring at the fucking mirror. I gotta say some shit, but it's just kind of nice. That's and I'm sure anybody who's into anything feels that same way. If you're a serious fucking I don't know, what else do people do other than working out? Fuck. Well, if you're a fucking golfer, when you're there, everybody's in their golfing gear. They've all got their clubs floating around. You get to talk about golfing. You're all into the same fucking thing. Or if you I don't know, if you're a goddamn semi-pro or high-level amateur hobbyist ping pong player, and you go to a ping pong, would it be a ping pong gym? It could be anything. Being around people who are doing the same stuff as you, it's just kind of nice, man. There's sort of a camaraderie, right? The last thing I want to do is only be around people, at least for the majority of my social exposure, just when I'm like at school or like working or whatever. It's just not as fun. But what I'm trying to say there is, whether this gym is packed or empty, this arm day will be highly fucking effective. So plan triceps, biceps. I might have to simmer on it for a second. I'll decide once I actually get in there. But so I did a really kind of heavy tricep or arm day last arm day with like really heavy curls, really heavy pushdowns. I might make today a little bit of a contradictory workout to that last one and do some more light squeezing kind of sets. Not every set, of course, but a little bit more than normal. And if I do that, then I might want to do a supersetting workout instead of all triceps and then all biceps. But in either case, I'm still going to do my same like 7 or 8 working sets of tris and working sets of bicep curls, just to reach a point where I know that muscle is fully stimulated, fully fatigued, pumped, and when I go home and start eating my food, plus all the food I've already eaten today, it's going to result in some fucking growth, So that's my primary concern. And honestly, anything other than that just comes down to personal preference. Somebody's workout can look completely different on fucking orders and rep schemes and whatever. But as long as someone actually does, let's just say for one muscle group, let's just say chest, for example, pretty easy to look at. If someone's chest day just consisted of like 8 hard working sets, whether they were cable flies, whether they were all fucking dumbbell incline bench, Smith machine, whatever, as long as those sets were actually hard and you reached a point of, let's just say, sensation where you know your chest is like fully fucking cooked, totally burned out, and you've actually done some serious damage, that's all that matters, right? Now, of course, there are workouts which are just literally better objectively. Like, you're not going to catch me just camp out on the pec deck for, 8 sets straight of lightweight for like 50 reps. I think that's a little foolish. But kind of what I end up thinking of, like, I don't want to say cookie cutter approach, but I think most sets which are conducive to gains, at least from my experience, that I would want to make most of my workouts up of, it would be whatever kind of weight manageable, heavy enough that I can't do like 25, and then light enough that I can do, excuse me, at least 8. I kind of feel like that's a pretty solid range, because if I do some light dumbbell curls today, I might get up to 20 reps and it'll just be fucking burning. Whereas maybe if I wanted to do a heavy set of curls and I go for a weight which I can only do 8 reps on, with maybe even a little bit of a swing to help, then, it's just failure in a different way. But I would say, at least for me, 8 ends up being the lowest number of reps that I want to do, and probably 25 is on the high end, at least for a straight set. I can get a little funkier with it when it comes to like drop sets and stuff. Like if I wanted to burn out with like, let's say I did a set of heavy push downs, I got like 15, 17 reps, whatever, and then I burned out with another 20 reps of the rope. I feel like that's a little different. But if most of your straight sets are coming from a weight that's at least 8 reps and at most like 25 reps, and legitimate failure or at least intense exertion falls within that rep scheme, then I think you're good, man. So don't stress doing like the incline or the 45 versus the 30 degree. As long as you're actually going hard, things will just start to fall into place. That's kind of because you end up wanting to optimize your own system for your own gains once you start making them. So fuck, man, I honestly wish I wrote down more of my workouts as a beginner, like in my first few years, because now I'm kind of curious what the hell I was even doing. But it's just basic shit, like dumbbell curls, cable curls, preacher curl, just all the basics. You don't even really have to be a fucking workout guru to do a solid workout. I mean, all it really takes is pick one of the basics, do it as hard as possible. Somebody who does a scrappy set, but it's like the most complicated and fancy curl ever, his gains are not going to be comparable to just a high school football kid who comes to the gym and he's like actually determined to wreck his biceps with as many sets of dumbbell curls as he can muster. So focus on the intensity. Don't lose too much focus looking at the nitty gritty details. Right? Get a pump, go to failure, enjoy. Perfect. But let's get started. Nothing too heavy. I know this is the stack with a plate, but you gotta remember this is like on a pulley too. So when I add this plate, that's not an extra 45 pounds of tension. It's technically only 22 and a half pounds. Right? I don't know if you know about how fucking pulleys work, but since this whole setup is being held up by these two, if I pull, I'm holding 22 and a half pounds on this side. The other side is holding that other 22 and a half. So don't get too intimidated. It's only a 22-pound jump, but this is a good enough weight, very moderate, to the point where I'm not going to be dying to do those first 10. So rather than just pump out reps quick, do them a bit slower, controlled, really sit here and squeeze and hold them. And then once I get fatigued to the point where I can't really hold it anymore, then I'll start maybe pumping them out, do a couple partials, then go from there. I think I'll decide. I don't know. I'm torn. It's like, do I want to do 3 sets of tries and then 3 sets of buys back and forth, or do I want to do all tries? I'll decide after the first 2 sets here, but these will be nice. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. Nice. One more like that. Goodness. Yeah. Fire. Oh. One more. And let's do some curls. Let's do the back and forth approach. Okay. I'm not done yet. I'm making a rest pause. So really, I'm going to take in 10 seconds and do another few reps to seriously burn out. I might come back to this, but let's go do some curls. Let's grab the 60s. So again, heavy, but within reason for my level of strength. This might be a little higher rep set. I'm not done. I'm just doing a rest pause. Oh. Few more. Oh, fine. One more. I'm gonna make a drop set. Oh yeah. Back to push downs. Okay. I'm not done yet. Yeah. Okay. I've referenced this before, but maybe not a downside, but certainly something to consider. The fact that my biceps are fucking pumped right now means I actually feel less tension in my triceps as they come up to the top, because my arm is like fucking running into itself, acting like a spacer. But one more here, and then I might switch to like a rope or something. Maybe single arm. TBD. TB freaking D. There we go. Okay. Same thing. Make a little bit of a rest pause. I lied. No rope. Let's do one more like that. Oh my God. Let's lose a plate. Okay. That's enough of these heavy push downs. Back to curls. Plan now and grab the 50s. The regular dumbbell curls, but a little different in the execution. Instead of just full rep, halfway up, pause, then finish that second half. Do that for as many as I can, and then try to burn out some, not partials, but kind of swinging reps. That'll be good. Okay. Oh my God. Oh. Okay. Let's just do the one like that. Let's do some bent over concentration curls now. 45 is just about as much as I need. Sam, have a good night, brother. Fuck. Oh. Okay. One more like that. Oh my God. Fuck. Okay. It's so annoying you can't pause TikToks with your headphones. It keeps automatically playing my music. But I am not over-exaggerating my discomfort at the end of these reps because I physically can't get the dumbbell up any higher. But by assisting myself to the top and then letting go, I mean, that's like if you gave a beginner lifter 3 plates on a squat and had to make him ride that weight down. And then you picked him back up and made him ride it down again. That might not be the best analogy, but that's sort of what I'm thinking. But nearly done. I think let's just go finish this last superset. Pose now with a complete freaky ass pump. And go home fucking happy lifter, man. Alright, so here's the plan. Here's the freaking plan. It might end up being like 3 kind of back and forths, but stack on push downs, which is a weight I can manage for, I don't know, we'll see, at least 20 for sure. So burn out with these, immediately drop the weight because I'm curling the stack far more difficult. Like I'm only gonna, like, I'm not exactly sure how you could quantify it, but my triceps are nowhere near as strong as my fucking, no, my biceps are nowhere near as strong as my triceps are. So with these, the tricep portion is going to be heavier, but thinking as many reps as I can, push downs, immediately sit down, drop the weight to what's manageable, burn out the same rep-ish of curls, back to push downs, back to curls, back to push downs, back to curls, and doing this immediate kind of quick back and forth, the tries, buys, let's just say this, I'm going to be pumped. So let's get excited and throw this shit around. Let's go post down. Oh, that was nasty. Well, you got a late lift tonight? Yep. I'm chilling.
Feel you, brother.
Arms today. Get it. Get it. Oh, fuck. When?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Yeah, it's always like on a 1-day delay. Yeah. Later. Holy fuck, dude. Oh my god. I've been recording this whole time. Guess who? Guess who freaking brought the measuring tape today? Let's get some data. Subjectively, let's say this is a fucking experiment. I'm a scientist. I'm taking my notes. Arms pumped as shit. Incredible. Badass. Those are my, that's my legal, advice. No, my legal, whatever. Whatever. I can't even fucking think right. Let's just post down. God damn. But pumped to the point where grabbing my collar becomes a slight challenge. Let's measure before we actually pose anything. So what do you think? What's the magic number here? Actually, we'll do one double by just so we have something to guess based off of. What do you think? Holy crap. Even holding the pose just fucking burns. So of course this is pumped, but that doesn't take away from its value. It's just a certain, state of being. See, is that fair? Oh shit. That's 20. That's 20 on the left side. Let's see the right. I think this might be my first time, at least, well, it's definitely my first time actually recording, numerically that it was 20 inches around. There we go. Oh, like 19 7/8 on that one. Do it, no. 20 with a really extra good flex. That's nasty. So 20-inch pumped needs to become the new 20 inches cold for me. And hopefully this bulk will help me do that. But let's get a little bit more zoom in here and really get a good gauge of how we're looking 3 weeks deep. Now that's nasty. That is a nasty fucking lat spread, if I've ever done one. Whew. Mm. Oh. Oh. Fucking hell. Even holding a double bicep shot is killing me. Let's see what else is there. Oh boy. Even keeping my arm like perfectly straight like that, I feel like I'm gonna pull my fucking bicep off. Oh man. Let's see what else is there. I'd say side tricep, but I can't even fucking reach behind my back. I'll do a little hold the shirt style trick so I can make up for my lack of mobility right now. I mean, that's fucking nasty. And it will only get nastier in the coming months. Which for me, I'm spoiled as a highly advanced lifter because every lift is fucking motivation to keep going harder. When I get to finish a workout and see this fucking pump pretty much every time, I've got no reason not to want to come in further and just keep smacking this shit around. Now that's where it's a little tricky for the beginner, because you don't get that insane fucking pump yet. You know, the results aren't exactly there. You're setting every time you hit a new personal best, it's not groundbreaking. But that's where you've got to kind of simmer down on your competitive nature with everyone around you, because you're just speeding up, man. You know, a Corvette or a fucking dragster, sure, it's fucking zooming 300 miles an hour in 5 fucking seconds. But you know what goes the furthest is a goddamn rocket ship. And does that thing just fucking take off in 0.1 seconds? No, it kind of has a slow acceleration, you know? So get excited about any noticeable progress that you have, because if you can become the type of guy where seeing any progress based on the work that you put in motivates you to go harder, then you just set yourself for a fucking, you know, infinite feedback loop in a positive way. That's a goddamn upward spiral. Very rare. The upward spiral is not a crazy common occurrence. Typically downward spirals are more fucking frequent. So that's my last little tidbit here. Anytime you get pumped up, make sure to enjoy it. Because not only are you pumped up muscularly, that's gonna fucking pump you up mentally to go harder. So let's scram, get in the car. There we go. There we freaking go. So part of it comes down to having a reasonable amount of skill to like assess a problem, think in different ways to solve it. You know, I'm talking, you know, you need to play at least a little bit of Brain Academy on the Nintendo Wii when you were a kid. But for the most part, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from learning and being able to get reasonably proficient at legitimately anything. Literally fucking anything, you know? Because if you put in enough time and practice, now you have to actually like do this thoughtfully. You know, somebody could go to the gym every day for a year and make zero gains if they just scrap around. But if you're like intently focused, you're fucking completely present, and you're legitimately practicing something for hours on end, on fucking repeat, for a considerable amount of time, there's nothing stopping you from getting serious results, you know? Like, it's not even a question. And it should not be a question, you know? It's like, if you, let's just imagine someone who's kind of a beginner lifter character. Or let's tighten this down to lifting, but it could be anything. Where do you think they see their limit as? You know, obviously in the scope of like, let's just say natural lifting, like what do you think they think their max bench could ever be, you know? And you know, as a beginner, if you haven't really practiced, you haven't made any gains, you haven't seen what your rate of progress is, you might not exactly know. But as long as you took somebody and you actually put them, or I guess they would have to put themselves through a legitimate training routine. I mean, just go to the gym an hour a day, fucking work out hard and come home. It could be that simple as long as you actually push yourself when you're in there. You don't have to be like fucking Mike Isertol doing every particular like 5 stretch squeeze. Just taking somebody with no training experience or crazy knowledge, having them come in, do push pull legs on the regular, and go hard. For someone to do just that for a year straight, even if they didn't give a fuck about their diet, even if they were like not prioritizing everything else that they could to really maximize their gains, just by taking somebody and having them work out every day, let's just say 1 hour, doesn't have to be crazy bodybuilding workouts either, but just like, hit every part of your body twice a week ish. In 1 year, that guy is going to have made serious fucking progress. So it's really not a question of if. The only if is if you're willing to fucking do it. The barrier to entry of becoming a fucking beast in the gym based on your own build. I'm not talking about becoming a 280 pounder. Being just a lean fucking 190, that's legit, man. It's been a while, but I've been there before. I felt fucking badass. That's not where I wanted to end my kind of routine or anything, but dude, being a lean, strong 190, that is legit. Plus, you get the benefit of being a bit more agile. Like I'm not so athletic right now to the point where I can just bust out backflips on the regular or anything. So it's kind of a give and take when you aim towards the track of the mass monster. But dude, man, they're really the only limiting factor is that if you're willing to do it. So guys who have made legit gains, guys who have worked out for fucking years on end, they understand this. They understand, and they can look back on their time training, because if you train for long enough, you're gonna realize, like, even if you don't take time off like intentionally, I've had injuries, like I had a knee surgery once. I fucked up my hand once, just like little random shit, to the point where I know when I'm not locked in, if I haven't been training for a few months, the fucking gains slow down. It should be obvious, that's fucking just basic shit. But when you're really seriously locked in, lifts on the fucking regular on a consistent basis, dude, gains just fucking come, And it's not I can't stress enough, it's not a question of if, because if you take a guy and you seriously have him fucking work out hard, he's just gonna fucking grow. He's gonna grow stronger, bigger, and tougher, fucking mentally too. That's almost one of the more important parts. But let's continue this in 1 second. I need some gas. I'm fucking on empty. There we go. Nice and full, just like I'm gonna be in 30 fucking minutes when I get home and fucking settled in and sat down and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. If your fucking brother or something told you, yeah, I'm getting really into fucking coding, man. I've been coding like for 2 hours a day, every day. I just love it. I'm like really into it. I'm trying to get better at it and learn about it. In a year's time of doing that, let's just say not even daily, but like on a pretty consistent basis, dude, that guy is going to be a goddamn whiz kid, So it's not so much anything to do with like your individual potential or your genetics or whatever. I think the real barrier to entry of gains is just your willingness to fucking lock into it for a long period of time. And that long period of time part, I think, is the most important, because I'm not one to fall under the Mike Menser belief that all I need is like 1 or 2 lifts per week. I'm kind of on the complete fucking opposite. That may just be because I really love working out, but whatever. If somebody did a seriously intense workout just 1 time a week, I don't think that's enough, man. And honestly, depending on how seriously some guys do work out, that might be the case. You have to remember, working out and doing a fucking workout, it's not just going through the motions. It's not just, you're sweating a little bit. I mean, that's good if you just want to maintain your build and your size. You got to remember, muscle maintenance, like maintaining your state of being, that is far easier than really growing. So eventually I'll get to that point where I feel like I'm like, this is the size I want to stay. Let's just chill here. And then I'm just going to, lift, get pumped up, eat all my food, stay the same size. It'll be fucking cool, nice and chill. But until then, dude, the fucking gas pedal has got to be pressed I'm not saying it has to be floored, but you got to be fucking accelerating because these workouts have to be stimulating. So you're not going to actually make any progress if the workout stimulation isn't enough. And as you work out for longer and as you make more and more gains, you're going to become more tolerant to your training. You know, so if you take a beginner who's never worked out before, we're kind of doing an extreme sort of case here, and you just had him work out, not even like training to failure, not even like pushing himself to complete fucking exertion or anything. Just, let's say he can do the 20-pound dumbbells for like 30 reps. Let's just say he did a couple sets where he just did 20 reps. Like that was like he had like 10 reps in reserve for all of his sets. Even if all of his workouts were done to that level of intensity, like uncomfortability, but not complete crazy fucking failure, the guy's still going to make gains. Because as a beginner, you are the most sensitive to your training because you've never done it before. That's if you're not let's say you're somebody who's seriously hard trained for like a marathon, he's used to it. That guy can run for fucking miles on end. Whereas someone who has not trained their cardio system at all, he's going to have to tap out at the fucking 10-minute mark of a jog because it's going to, he's going to be dying. So what I mean by that is the intensity that used to work as a beginner for you, that's not going to keep up. You're not going to be able to keep doing that. Things are going to get fucking harder, and that's just kind of the nature of really everything. Like even right here in this fucking car, I don't know how much you know about wind resistance or fucking shit like that, but the faster you go, the air pushes back on you like twice as hard. It's like if you're driving twice as fast, the air is pushing back on you 4 times as hard. It's kind of a sort of an exponential type situation there. So what I'm trying to get at is the longer you work out and the more gains you make, the harder it is to actually fucking stimulate those gains and actually even start the muscle building process. So for someone to lift with the same baseline level of intensity, that's going to give them the same baseline fucking level results. Over time, you have to fucking, adapt. Right? Be a different animal, but the same beast, if you know what I'm talking about. So whether that has to come with like adjusting your rep schemes, just however you have to continue to train with enough intensity to stimulate growth, match your diet and your recovery process outside the gym with those gains, then you can expect pretty serious long-term progress. Even just fucking natural, man. I don't even like that I have to say that, but dude, those comments really fucking irk me. Where it's like, I'm not on gear. I don't even. The basic premise of these comments is, if I'm not going to take gear, why even go hard? That is the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard. But yeah, and that would just make sense. If you're trying to, let's just look at this as because you're not in competition with everyone else. You don't have to beat anyone working out to progress. But let's just look at this like a tournament style of things, right? Because that's kind of how it ends up being. It's kind of it's sort of a inverted pyramid type situation. Obviously, there's the most people with zero gains at the bottom. There's not as many people with crazy fucking gains up top. So the differentiating factor is those guys manage to fucking basically one-up themselves months after months after months after months. And if you can be really like emotionally connected with your training, I think it makes it much easier. I'm not one to say that like I need to say I'm going to be a piece of shit if I don't train hard. I think that I think that's taking it a little bit too far. But as you fucking get into this, and you can apply this to anything, of course, but working out wise, you should gradually, gradually is a good word. You should begin to expect more from yourself, to the point where it hasn't happened for a while because I feel like I'm pretty locked in, but every few months, especially as a beginner, what would happen is I would eventually have kind of a scrappy lift. I'd have a workout where I wasn't really pushing myself that hard, and I could tell. Like I finished the workout and I was like, oh shit, what am I even doing right? Like I just wasn't training that hard. I wasn't really locked in. I was like being distracted for whatever reason. I was not pushing myself as far or as hard as I knew that I could. And that is like a moment of realization where I say, holy, what the fuck am I doing? I gotta seriously lock in here. Come on. Because I know You know, in that moment, I'm like, I know I can do more than this. Oh, what is stopping me? What the hell's wrong with me? And every time I'd have that realization, the lifts afterward and beyond were now at a new intensity, right? My baseline level of fucking effort has increased. And that should happen every so often. And if it hasn't, if you haven't had a little bit of a moment like that, then, dude, you're simply missing out, you know? You're limiting yourself before you can even try to see how far you could go. Because in terms of like how your actual end results and the effort and fucking intensity are related, I'd say kind of a combination of effort, intensity, consistency, all three of those kind of bundled into one, is pretty damn correlated with your actual end results. You know, so if you want more results, you got to up all those fucking factors on the outside, which are gonna cause, induce them, and fucking perpetuate them. So it ends up looking like this, right? And it's just how it has to be because gains get progressively harder to even make as time progresses. You know, so as a beginner, your intensity is right here. You're making gains though. You're getting bigger. You're getting stronger. You're getting fucking just more muscular. You're getting gains. You're working out well. And eventually you have to come to a point where you're either gains wise slowing down or you've now lifted for long enough and you've developed yourself enough to the point where you know you can go harder. You know you've got more in the tank that you haven't been tapping into. And that should be a trigger moment to up the intensity, right? First you were here for a few months, you got to up it to here. And this is your new baseline, right? I've had crazy lifts where I go above and beyond what my typical baseline intensity is, which is good, but my baseline is still about here. And then eventually, once this becomes my new normal, I got to up it. Once something becomes your new normal, then you're used to it. It's not stimulating enough for you. You've got to up it. You know, if you're in a fucking ice bath and eventually it gets to the point where it doesn't feel like it's that cold anymore, guess what you got to do, man? Fucking cool that shit down. If you're doing a hard, heavy set, and as months progress, that weight is now, I mean, basically baby weight for you. That means you got to fucking go heavier. You know, progressive overload, everything else. I feel like, not more important, but similar levels of importance. Progressive overload gets stated a lot, but I think something that needs to be said more is progressive intensity, right? Intensity overload. You got to be lifting harder the longer that you work out. So look at the guys who you know are fucking serious and have been doing this for a long time. Odds are they've got more skin in the game. They know what they're doing, they know what they want to do, and they know how to make it happen. And part of that just comes with doing it for a long time. So if you're in the beginner stage, go hard, push yourself as hard as you know you can, and then every time you leave the gym, dude, it's just pure satisfaction, you know? Because if I leave the gym and I know I went hard, I was fully pumped, I stimulated myself in a way in which I know I made, or at least I'm going to make, you know, continued gains as time progresses, in tandem with you know, a bulking 5,000-ish, 4,500-ish calorie intake. there's nothing left. There's nothing else left for me to do but sit back and enjoy. So, the benefits of locking in, I swear they will pay you dividends. It does take a little while though, but that's the fun part. If gains were instant, then this wouldn't be fun at all. It wouldn't be a journey, you know. If somebody offered me a magic button to get my absolute peak end physique, I'd probably push it because I'm a fucking gains nut. But you know, there's no genies in the real world, so we're stuck with we're stuck with facing the challenge. But I'm not joking. That's the fun part. That's what gives it value. So that's all I got. Leg day tomorrow. I'm gonna get nice and well rested so I can move some serious fucking weight around, and ideally get to the point where I can no longer walk normally, and I have to hobble. I have to waddle around. As my legs get a touch bigger over this bulk, I'm sure you'll notice my typical walking stance is going to become more and more floppish, which is a good thing. Which is a very fucking good thing. So I'll see you tomorrow for a nasty leg day.